Guys, I just got done with a video call interview for the show, and I have to say that it was like the smoothest experience ever. Didn't have any issues or anything, and the video came out almost perfect. And do you know why? It's because I used Riverside. Riverside is your online recording studio where you can record a conversation with any guest online. You can easily record podcasts and videos in studio quality from anywhere, all from your browser or their mobile app. All you have to do is get your setup ready, send your guests a link for them to join, have them join from their phone or computer, and just chat away. A lot of podcasts that you listen to are probably using Riverside, honestly. What sets Riverside apart is that a recording of your audio and your video is happening locally on your computer. So even if your connection isn't that good, it doesn't ruin the entire recording or anything. Once you've finished recording, you will get the individual tracks of each speaker and also a combined one. You'll receive all the raw files, including that Pepsi crystal clear uncompressed audio and up to 4K video. There's also lots of really cool features where you can edit your video right in their site. So, you're a YouTuber, a podcaster, or streamer, or a content creator of any kind, and you want to have high quality conversations with your guests, please use my link in the description and sign up for Riverside. If you want to support me in the channel, please use my link since I end up getting a cut from the sales. I'm not joking. Please support me. Sign up for Riverside and start recording today. Live in front of an internet audience, it's the I'm Clifford Today show. We're back, baby. I'm back. Woohoo! Honestly, guys, I am really excited. I'm also really nervous. Please let me know, guys, if you're viewing the stream okay. I was trying to watch it during the countdown and everything and make sure it was coming out okay, but I was having a little bit of trouble, so I don't know if that's the case for everyone. I know we're live, but I just don't know how clearly how clear live we are. So please in the chats let me know if you're watching this okay. But yeah, so we're back. The I'm Clifford Today show. Yeah, so a little bit of surprise there. Got you guys a new intro theme. I hope you guys like it. I've been stoked about it for a long time, and I'll get into where it came from. But yeah, so intro music not by John Bartman this time around. It's by me. But also today we are joined by the soundtrack to Akira, composed by Geno Yamashirogumi. I hope I got that right. But yeah, so guys, I'm just so excited to be back, and I'm pretty nervous, and I don't know why, because with the show, I was, doing it like every other week, and I got pretty used to it. But now that it's been so long, I'm nervous about how this is gonna go, how this is gonna be received. But I'm just doing my best to have fun, and that's what matters most. So yeah. Trying to think. If you guys like the show, be sure to leave a rating and review as always on the Apple Podcasts and such. You can leave a rating on Spotify. Let me know what you think of the episode. For all you listeners out there, let me know what you think of the episode in the Q&As for each episode. Yeah. And also be sure to leave a comment on things, and you'll get a shout out. So yeah, let me make sure that we're going okay. At least maybe on YouTube. We'll see how things are going over there. Okay. Okay, we're live on YouTube at least. I wasn't sure about Twitch, so we'll see. But at least if we're on YouTube, then that's okay. I can, people can live with that. So, all right. So the new theme song was an idea that I had a while ago. Well, I don't know why I said a while ago. It's an idea I had during this whole break. I was thinking like, well, if I'm going to bring the show back, what do I want to be different, And I was thinking about the intro theme, the original intro theme that I had for the show, and that song was a royalty-free song that I found. The idea that I had behind the original theme is that I wanted it to be a sort of like spoof off of like a sort of like 80s or 90s sitcom kind of thing. And so that's the direction that I went with, and I found this song that I thought matched the mood and feel of it. And with the videos and everything, I just want people might not realize the humor behind the original intro video, because it's really weird. At first it seems kind of normal, but then I found just like the weirdest videos that I could find just to put in there. Like, you're seeing footage of a city, and then all of a sudden you're seeing someone being handcuffed. Like, whoa, that's so random, And if people didn't really get that, that's okay. It's really weird, but so that was the idea that I had behind it, and showing footage of old videos of me. And so I decided, you know what, I kind of want to do something more original, and original as in like something that I made that I can be happy about for the intro theme. And so I started brainstorming, and I remembered this little song that I made when I like years ago, like over 10 years ago, I think. OG followers of this channel would remember a little song that I had on that I made called Rock All Night. And it's a bad song, and I'll share a clip of it in a second, but it's pretty bad. But of course, it's 10 years over 10 years old, and so of course it's not going to be great. But that was around when I was first started making music on GarageBand and such, and I was pretty proud of it as like a 16 or 17-year-old. And I was kind of going for like a sort of Newsboys vibe with it. And so basically I thought, it'd be really cool if I like took some samples from that song and made it something new and fun and better. So here's a little clip of that original song for you guys.
We're gonna rock, rock, rock all night. Lessen the volume, turn on the lights. Gonna take you all to a different height. We're gonna rock, rock, rock all night. Gonna rock, rock, rock all night. Gonna play for God, gonna play it right. The beats are cool, the music's tight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock all night.
Cringe. The beats are cool and the music's tight. we're gonna rock all night. Yeah, so it's pretty bad, but I thought, it's still kind of fun. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, like, the drums actually sound pretty good and some parts of it sound all right. Well, the reason why the drums sound good was because they're just a sample on GarageBand that I used that I liked for the song. So that's why the rest of the song sounds like trash. So, but that's okay. I still have an appreciation for it. I mean, that's why I made a whole new entire theme song for it. And what I did was that I took samples of the vocals. Stream isn't working for me. Oh, great. Let's see. How about on YouTube? Try to go on YouTube. This might be this whole multi-stream thing. I apologize, everyone. I'm gonna try to not put this whole stream to a halt. Because I think it's working on YouTube, but for some reason it's not working on Twitch. So yeah, so that's the one thing that I wanted to. Yeah. Sorry, my friend Griffin is texting me. Might not be working on Twitch today. I wanted to, so I know when I first started this stream, I wanted to do YouTube and Twitch. And it didn't work for so long, and I thought that maybe it was because of my computer. But I don't think it's gonna happen today with Twitch, at least for now. Don't know why, but guess it is what it is, and I guess Streamlabs isn't really all it's cracked up to be. And that's something that I'll just have to look into. So we'll see how this goes, and we'll just trudge on. I'd really rather not stop this whole stream, and if we're on YouTube, then that's good enough for me right now. I'm viewing it okay on YouTube, so. Okay, so sorry to everyone at Twitch, but the show must go on. I guess in light of this, probably not going to be able to do the whole multi-platform thing if it's not going to be working for this right now. Yeah. Anyways, sorry guys. I hate it when things like this happen, and then it gets all in my head, and it just ruins the whole vibe of it. So I'll wait for my friend to see if it ends up working for him. And if not, I'm probably gonna have to start this whole stream all over, because I don't know why it would be working for me on YouTube and not for anyone else. So crap. Sorry, guys. So, yeah, anyways, so I did this whole new song for it. I took the vocals from Rock All Night, and I took this sampled beat from a song that I liked, and because I liked the beat for that, I just took the drums out for it, and I recorded the synth. Nick Gundy. Hey, buddy. Gosh dang it. I'm going to have to, like, I'm gonna have to go to the chats. I'm probably gonna edit this whole part out in the YouTube stream. All right. It's too bad because I feel like there was a lot of people trying to watch over on Twitch, and they missed out on the intro, the new intro that I got. Anyways, of course things like this have to happen to me. So, but it is what it is, I guess. Okay, so what I also wanted to say about the new intro song is that I laid down the synths and everything for it, but I knew it needed something else. I knew I wanted some guitar and some bass on it, and so I reached out to some people on Fiverr to help me out. And so shout out to Dan G at Dan G Music on Fiverr on the bass. Did a really cool groovy bass line on there, and Daniel Helfman. So we had 2 Dans on here. Daniel Helfman at D Helfman on Fiverr. He recorded. Okay, sweet. Hey Nick, thanks for helping me out. I don't know what's going on Twitch. This is my first time trying to do multi-stream on YouTube and Twitch here on Streamlabs, and it just does not seem to be working out. So thanks, Streamlabs. Anyways, so thanks for joining the show, Nick. I feel bad because I feel like people on Twitch are gonna try to be watching on there. I had some friends that were probably going to join the stream, so I'll update them on everything. So yeah, shout out to Dan G and Daniel. Forgot his last name. Daniel Helfman for playing bass on guitar. So I'm gonna update my friends. Twitch doesn't seem to be working, so you can watch on YouTube for now. All right. Oh, you can hear it? So the video's not showing, but the audio is? That's so weird. What the heck? Oh, we're gonna get over this hurdle, guys, and man, I should have test streamed or something. Yeah, because it's not working for me. Oh, there it is. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, well, I guess that's something. So, if you guys are watching on... Oh, there is now video on Twitch. I meant videos. I'm not sure. Okay, I guess it's going in and out over on Twitch. So it's just really rough over on Twitch. So I'm just gonna say the best bet is probably YouTube right now. It's really struggling over there because I'm not doing anything. Twitch is just really struggling. So I'm gonna say that YouTube is probably your best bet. I think YouTube seems to be running. No, I'm talking about showing the video, like the camera and everything. That's what I meant. But no, we're live on YouTube, and it seems to be running smoothly over there. Oh, this is frustrating. Anyway. I'm just going to say the best bet seems to be YouTube right now. YouTube seems to be running the smoothest, I think. I don't know. Otherwise, I guess, Nick Gundy, you can continue trying to watch it on there, but it seems to be very buggy over on Twitch for some reason, and I don't know why. So hopefully this stream is all ready for the birds. So anyways, I'm just really excited about the intro video that I did. If you guys missed it, please go back and watch the stream and watch the beginning, because I'm really proud of it. I'm also really proud of the little editing that I did. Ayo, Christian. We got Christian up here in the chat. Don't worry, Nick. My whole brain is scattered. It's just scattered everywhere, so I don't really know what's going on. So we're just going to continue right now. I'm going to edit out a lot of this in the YouTube stream. So anyways, intro theme song. We're past that. I'm really excited about having this new original custom theme song. So yeah, moving on. It's good to be back, even though we're having some trouble today for some reason. But I've missed you guys, and I've really appreciated the love over the whole period that I've been gone, other than the audio feed interviews, which I really appreciate the love for the audio feed interviews, especially the Ronnie Martin interview. That one got a more significant amount of views. And I got to say, that one was really special. Both were really, I'm not trying to like show favorites. I love Becoming the Archetype and Ronnie Martin, but I have a lot more of an attachment to Ronnie Martin because I listened to him ever since I was a kid. And so it was really cool. I listened to Joy Electric, and it was really cool being able to talk with him and have a discussion with him. So if you guys haven't checked it out, I suggest you guys definitely go check out both interviews with Ronnie Martin and Becoming the Archetype. It was a fun time talking with those guys. And also, you guys can also check out audio. It's based, even the video is like audio version, but I did put them up on the podcast. So if you guys are podcast listeners on Spotify or Apple or all those other podcast platforms, you can check out those interviews if you haven't before. So yeah, thanks again for the love for those. I guess before we get into the main topics, I wanted to talk about like where this channel is heading, which I guess everything is up in the air right now, because I was thinking that we were going to be multi-streaming to both YouTube and Twitch, and I was excited to finally be able to do that again. Now I'm not so sure, so we'll see about that, but got a lot of really cool things in store for you guys for the show, with the next few episodes already. The cool thing is that I have a lot of cool interviews lined up. I never really thought whether this show was going to be like an exclusively interview show, and it's not, as far as I know, but I am excited about the fact of interviewing a lot of cool people, and so we'll see about that. You guys let me know in the comments if you guys like the interviews or not. The next episode is going to be an interview, and I'll talk more about that at the end of the show. And I've got 2 more interviews, so really set when it comes to the streams and everything, with the episodes. So yeah, and I have a lot of cool ideas for the show. I would love for the show to be like bigger and better. And I have some cool ideas that I don't really want to give away just now because I'm not sure, but it's going to take some time before I think that show can get to this. Okay, you know what? I'll just hint at it. I would love for the show to be not just me, but I'd love to sort of have a panel, maybe some co-hosts, and like have this whole like studio setup maybe. That would be the dream, but it's going to take a while before I can get up there. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are about that, because I feel like I feel a lot more comfortable when I'm talking with other people, specifically on a podcast. Yeah, I get you. Oh, you miss Clifford interviewing people. Well, there is going to be a lot more interviews, so So, oh yeah, I guess Nick Gundy, what he would be referring to is the old podcast that I used to have with my friend Mitchell, who you guys know from Podwood Forecast. Um, we used to interview local artists from the Illinois music scene. And that was a lot of fun, but it was very tiring. So that's why we stopped doing it. But Nick Gundy was actually our first guest on there. So, and just a little teaser, I've thought about the possibility of doing a Take the Pulse episode for Podwood Forecast and share all the episodes that we did. So maybe I think that would be really cool someday. But yeah, so I'm no stranger to interviewing people, and I feel like I'm getting back in the groove of things, and I think the audio feed documentary really helped out with that. Made me a lot more comfortable with interviewing people, and then of course the Becoming the Archetype and the Ronnie Martin interviews. So I'm really enjoying it, and I've already recorded 2 interviews. I've got 1 more to go to record tomorrow. So there'll be some more of that, but you know, it's not going to change too much. But the idea with like having co-hosts in like a whole panel, let me guys know what you think about that, if you would like that. Because like I said, I feel like I'm more comfortable when I have other people on the show. Sometimes I get a little bit up in my head when it's just me, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. Also, something that's changing with the show is that I'm doing my best to try and make this show as smooth and professional looking as possible, even though this episode is not a great example for it. But got some new things that, you know, might seem a little different to you, but not too much. Already with just this episode, I've got a new segment in the middle for our ad break that you guys will see pretty soon. So let me know what you guys think of that. So yeah, I just want to do my best to try to make this show as best as it can be. Trying my best, guys. So, yeah, so I think that's about it for, catching up with you guys. If you guys have any questions at all, because I know it's been a long time, so, you know, we need to catch up on stuff, please leave it in the chats, you know, and if you're watching after the live stream, please leave a comment, you know, if you have any questions about how things are going. Yeah, I'd love to, any little thing that we need to catch up on and clarify, you know. So yeah, we are going to get into Oliver Anthony today, but first we're going to go into a little ad break, a little new segment for you guys, and we'll get into the nitty gritty. I know I teased that we might talk about Dante Bowe. I don't think that's going to happen today, which that's fine because I wasn't really prepared, honestly. So, been working really hard to prep for this show. So, all right. So, don't go away, guys. We have a new spotlight segment, so please stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, thanks for watching or listening to the I'm Clifford Today show. Right now, we're going to take a few minutes to listen to this week's spotlight artist, Fepeste, and their song entitled "Open Mouth, Fill It Up" from their most recent album, What You Don't Know. You can find their music on whatever music platform you prefer, including Bandcamp, where you can purchase any of their music and support the artist directly.
Like a house to heat and kids that gotta eat. My eyes are focused firmly on me. My brow's been working, my hands are sweaty, but they sure don't feel so steady. A wet fleece, now make it dry. Haven't I asked you 100 times? Yet every time I open my mouth, you feel it, you feel it, you feel it, feel like a house to heat. And kids, they just gotta eat. Got my eyes on everything but you. Cause I can't see you like I see the news. I can't taste you like I can taste food. A dry please, now make it wet. 1,000 times I've asked you yet. Still every time I open my mouth, you feel it, you feel it, you feel it, feel it, feel it up now. Speak words of eternal life,
where we shall not want, where we shall not die.
with words of eternal life.
You have filled my mouth, you have made them mine.
We ain't no birds or flowers, we are sons and daughters, our tongues on fire. Your word is our water, with words of eternal life. Where we shall not want, you have filled my mouth. 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 You have filled my mouth.
If you're a Christian artist and would like to hear your music in the Spotlight segment, send an email to the address in the description of the episode. And now, back to the show.
All right, we're back. So you guys have probably noticed a lot of new changes, to the show. Like I said, trying to make this show as smooth as possible. Yeah, Hunter Gaming says, I like your ideas. Thanks, man. I hope you guys like that new segment. It's a spotlight segment, and basically what it is for independent Christian artists to, I guess they don't have to be independent. If like a big mainstream artist contacts me too, then yeah, I'll put them on the spotlight. But yeah, like it said before, if you're an independent Christian artist and you want to promote your song, reach out to me. There's going to be, crap, I forgot to put the email in the description. I'll put it in the description later, after the live stream. But basically, email me at cliffordclose94@gmail.com. Send me your song, and yeah, as long as it's not like heretical and like unlistenable, whatever, I'll put it on the show, and you'll basically kind of be the only thing. It's for free for now. I'm not charging anything. The only thing I ask is that you promote the episode that it's on. So yeah. So thanks to Fepeste. I've talked about him on the show before, and he was the first to reach out to me. So thanks to Fepeste for I guess making great music. Definitely go check him out, guys, and go support him. So yeah, and I also made a little new bumper video to bring us back into the show. Like I said, I'm trying to make this show as smooth as possible. So I hope you guys like it. All right. So Nick Gundy says, yeah. Why don't I have I don't know why I used to be able to have the chat showing up on the stream, but I don't know. That's something I'll have to look into. Also, my friend Christian was texting me today. He's watching the show. I think he's still watching right now. But he was basically telling me that apparently Twitch has been making it difficult for streamers to multi-stream to different platforms. So if that's the case, that's pretty stinky, Twitch. So I have to look into that and see what's going on with that. If that's the case, then I might just have to specifically stream to Twitch and then upload later to YouTube like I did before. So we'll see. All right, so we're going to get right into it after a half hour, getting into the main thing. So Oliver Anthony. I'm forgetting what Oliver Anthony's real name is, but you guys probably know about him because he's, you've been living under a rock, if not. But Oliver Anthony had a song recently, The Rich Man North of Richmond. You've probably heard it, and it blew up, which is crazy. It's a crazy phenomenon because Christian says, I'm still watching. Cool. Twitch has done that for the longest time, or at least that's what I've heard. Maybe that's the problem that I had when I first started this show. I don't know. But thanks for the insight, Christian. I really appreciate it. Okay, so Christopher Lunsford. Christopher Anthony Lunsford. Okay, so Anthony is his real middle name. So that's cool. But what's crazy about this about Oliver Anthony and the Richmond North of Richmond is that I feel like it's been forever. It is very rare for a song to blow up as much as this song has without like anyone knowing anything about the artist. Like this guy just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden now his song has 66 million views on YouTube, which that's crazy. And especially since I feel like some people might think like, oh, that's not a big deal. Like, Cardi B has like 100 million views. I think a lot of those artists, like, artists like Cardi B and whatever, they, of course, get a lot of views and such. And a lot of those views are probably real. But my conspiracy theory is that a lot of those artists buy a lot of those views. Like, because in their minds, unless a music video has over 100 million views, then it hasn't done well. So I feel like a lot of those are either bots or they're bot-and views, or bots and views. Anyways, so, but like 66 million views, like organic views, that is a lot. And so it's been like the #1 song everywhere. And I'm sure you guys have heard it. If you haven't, I'm not going to play it on here. I don't want to get copyright stricken. Also, there's language in there. And we'll talk about that. But yeah, I just didn't want that on the show. So yeah, go listen to Richmond North of Richmond. Unless you have kids around, then don't play it because he says BS. So, but I guess for those of you who aren't familiar, Oliver Anthony is this new up and coming country folk artist who basically just plays the guitar and sings. And his song, The Richmond North of Richmond, is basically this. It's our generation's protest song, basically. And that's why it's so exciting for me, because I feel like we haven't really had a song like this since, like, Bob Dylan, honestly. It has a lot of Bob Dylan vibes to it for me. And it's a song that has both resonated with millions of people, obviously, but it's also been a point of controversy. And some people watching this might be like, they might be tired of listening to it right now or hearing about it, because everyone's been talking about it, from normal people like me to political commentators and such. It's been everywhere. And some people might be like, "What? Why are you talking about this, man? You're the Christian music guy." Well, we'll get into that because Oliver Anthony has been very open about his faith. And so that's why I think it's relevant today, relevant to the channel here. But basically, Richmond North of Richmond is this song about basically the state of our country right now. And and how they're the people in charge of our country, the elite politicians and such who say that they care about us and such really don't, and they seem more interested in putting money in their pockets. And so that's basically the premise of the song. And it's very raw and to the point. And I gotta say, just like my personal opinion, I'm a big fan of it. There's a lot of it in there that I resonate with. And the cool thing is that there's also people from like different countries who have also resonated with it. So that's pretty cool. But I think what I love about this song is that it is very much like a rallying cry for people on both sides of the political spectrum. And Oliver Anthony has actually done a really good job at not making this a right wing or a left wing thing. I mean, people might try to turn it into something like that, but that's a big reason why I love it. It's very honest, and it's pretty much like voicing the heart of a generation today. And I guess when I say generation, I mean like everyone living today in our society, because we truly live in a society, as Joker famously put it. The song is the voice of a generation in the sense that, like, it basically is the heart cry of every hardworking person who, has been put down by inflation and all sorts of like the issues with the economy. And it's basically just the heart cry of the everyday working man or woman. So I think it's a really good song, and it's been a while since a song like this has been as popular as it is. Now, something that's also really cool about Oliver Anthony, other than, just being brutally honest about the state of our country, is that he has been very open about his Christian faith. Oliver Anthony, maybe not in all of his music, but at his shows, he reads passages of scripture, and he has been on both the Joe Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, and the Jordan Peterson's podcast. And he's very open about the fact that he's a Christian. He had a video on his YouTube channel where he basically, alongside talking about his like reaction to everyone's reaction to the song, he talks about like his faith, and I'll play a little clip of that for you guys.
And I'll say this and I'll go. I spent a long time being an angry little agnostic punk, and I remember talking about Sky Daddy and Cloud Papa, and I would get so angry about the concept of God because I had sort of perverted what my vision of God was, because I looked at the religion of man as God and not God himself. But there is a divine creator that loves you, and sometimes it takes falling down on your knees and getting ready to call things quits before it becomes obvious that he's there. But he's always there. You just got to look out for him and listen for him. So I'll see you on the next one. And I love you guys and gals, and I'm really appreciative of you listening to my music and giving me a voice. So Lord willing, this is just the beginning. Hope you guys have a good night. Bye.
That's one thing that I really appreciate about him is his humility about everything. I mean, I can't imagine what everything has been like for him to just blow up so suddenly and all of a sudden have everyone talking about you and your music. I can't imagine. I don't know if I could deal with it personally. I mean, I freaked out so much when a video of mine all of a sudden got 2,000 views because of Derek Webb. But we're not going to talk about that right now. I just had to bring it up because it's funny. But yeah, so he put that on his personal YouTube channel, and Joe Rogan, who actually was played a big part in pushing this song to the world, he had him on his podcast, and you know, most of you guys are probably familiar with Joe Rogan enough to know that he's no believer. But a lot of people have been talking about the fact that Joe Rogan has been a lot more curious, I guess, about the Christian faith and what people believe. And that's definitely the case in this episode. But the main focus of this video is not going to be about Joe Rogan. But I watch Joe Rogan's I listen to Joe Rogan shows every so often, mostly when he has guests that I'm familiar with. And I listened to this whole episode, and it was really interesting. So here's a little clip of Oliver Anthony sharing scripture with Joe Rogan on his show.
There's a lot of things in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes that make sense and are timeless to today. My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart. For they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Keep your mouth free from perversity. Keep corrupt talk far from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths for your feet, and be steadfast in all your ways. Do not turn to the right or the left. Keep your foot from evil. But
that's pretty profound.
If people could just have enough open-mindedness to just read a little bit of Proverbs and just see what it has to say, I think like it would make the world a better place. There's a lot of truth in those words.
Was there like a moment with you, because I've read the legend story, but I wanted to ask you this in person. Was there a moment when you had like a literal come to Jesus moment where you realized you were at rock bottom?
Yeah, I was at a point where I was having, I don't even think I'd call it panic attacks. It was just like, everything was just so screwed up. I was getting chest pains and shooting pains all down into my, I was having like almost cardiovascular symptoms that are just, I guess now I realize they're stress and anxiety related, but I really thought I was going to die.
Yeah, so first of all, disclaimer, I took that clip from Ruslan KD on YouTube. You guys should definitely check him out. He's got a great YouTube channel. But since Joe Rogan's show is like exclusively on Spotify, I did not have the time or patience to figure out how to get that off so I can show a clip. So I just clipped up his clip from his video, and also he censored it, so that saved me a lot of time. Nick Gundy says, "Amen. I told myself months ago to reread Proverbs." Yeah, there's I love the fact that he's sharing those things, and you can see that it definitely like had an effect on Joe Rogan, which is really cool. Like he said, like, that's pretty profound. And in the past, he's been like so critical of Christianity. So it's cool that that he's making that having that influence on him. And they talked a little bit more about his faith. Oliver Anthony basically talks about how all of his life he rejected God, but I think he also said something about like having a substance abuse addiction as well. And then, he's talking about the panic attacks that he was having and such. And then he finally like asked God to basically saying like, if you straighten my life out, I will follow you. And we'll talk about Oliver Anthony's faith and salvation and conversion in just a little bit, but I just wanted to cover all these things about him being open and sharing about his faith. Later, he appeared on the Jordan Peterson podcast. You guys probably know that I'm a Jordan Peterson fan. As a Christian, I definitely don't agree with everything that Jordan Peterson says, but I think there's a lot that you can take from Jordan Peterson's writings and teachings and such. I got to see Jordan Peterson live at a show. So I was really excited to see that Oliver Anthony was on his show. And they talked a lot about Christianity and faith, because that's something that is very that holds Jordan Peterson's interest a lot, and so it was really interesting to hear them talk about things. Although there were plenty of times where Jordan Peterson would talk about it, and it's like, man, you're like almost there, but like you're not quite there, and so I don't know. This episode isn't about Jordan Peterson, but you know, I do my best to pray for him, and so that he finally sees the light. But anyway, so here's a little clip of Oliver Anthony sharing some scripture on Jordan Peterson's podcast.
You know, I've had people say that I'm a fence sitter and that I need to have some sort of call to action. And I guess like if there's anything that I would respond to that with, given the opportunity we have now, it's like, I think we need to take a step back and re-envision what we want the next 20 or 30 years to look like. And there's an important verse that came to mind. This is in Matthew 22, starts in 34, but it's where the Pharisees are questioning Jesus on, like, because even throughout the Bible, there are contradictions, obviously, and people have different forms of opinion and different ways things are worded even throughout the Bible. But he says, a Pharisee asked Jesus, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is love your neighbor as yourself." And like, as simple as that is, if we could just find a way to make those two commandments, even outside of religious boundaries, just if we could learn to make that our priority and then base our differences below that, you know, like God is here, our love for each other here, and then below that is try to find a way to integrate our differences in a way that everyone can live a better life. Like it would resolve a lot of the conflicts that have become like way overcomplicated, you know?
Yeah. So I agree with a lot of that. It's just, again, it's just really cool. So I do have a few issues. I'm just going to talk about a few of the issues that I have so far with how Oliver Anthony has shared his faith. But I want to preface this by saying that Oliver Anthony, Christopher, that's his real name. He is a baby Christian. And I get a little antsy when I hear some people comment on his faith and the things that he said, because the thing is that he's admitted that he is a very new Christian, like just within the past few months. He said that he only converted like within the past few months, as far as I know, unless I got that wrong for some reason. Either way, he is a very baby Christian, and we have to share a little grace, honestly. I mean, yes, we need to, like, it's important to like help each other out and correct each other in love. And I'm going to try to do that with the next few minutes of what I'm going to say about him. So I am fully aware of that, and I don't hold anything against him. But I guess the some of the main things that I would encourage him on is that, and this is only from speculation, I guess I can't really say I know his heart, but basically what I've heard him talk about when he talks about his faith is that the one thing that I find missing is the true message of the gospel. When I hear him talk about his faith, it seems that the reason why he became a Christian is for God to put his life together. Now, God will put a lot of things together in your life when you become a Christian. Oftentimes, your priorities will start to line up, and in many ways, your life you will have more purpose and meaning in your life. And that is very true. That is very, very true. the thing that I don't like is when Christians make that the point of Christianity, but because it's not. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Wretched Radio, but Todd Friel on Wretched Radio, he does these Witness Wednesdays, and he goes out to witness to people, and sometimes he comes across people who profess to be Christians, and he does this thing where he's like, all right, so you're a Christian. Tell me why I should become a Christian. And a big, not a big, but like a common response from a lot of people are like, oh, well, it'll make your life better, and it'll do this and do da 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 da. And then Todd Friel has a discussion about, like, well, ultimately, being a Christian is all about a big part of Christianity is that we are sinners in need of a savior, and God sent his son to die for our sins so that we might be saved. And that's basically the whole crux of the gospel. Nick Gundy says, I do got some side comments on that. I finally learned the term for those kind of things called the prosperity gospel. Yes, prosperity gospel is a big thing, and like, don't even get me started on prosperity gospel, but I am going to for just a second. Prosperity gospel basically preaches that when you become a Christian and you have more faith, then everything's going to be better for you. I don't know if that's really the camp where Oliver Anthony comes from, but there are a lot of Christians who do seem to think that, like, the point of Christianity is that it does all these things. It gives you more purpose. It brings more sense into your life and brings things, things become more manageable, whatever. Those things may happen, but it's not the point of Christianity. Nick Gundy says to deny ourselves and take up our cross daily. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing that I have not really heard from Oliver Anthony, and it's the fact that he realized that he was a sinner and that he needed God's grace. And so, I mean, maybe it is the case that he does realize that. He just hasn't really verbalized that, especially to Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. I'm not, like I said, I'm doing my best not to judge, but I hope that is the case for him, that he does realize that without God, he can do no good. Like, it is only with God that we are made righteous. That's the whole gospel message. Yes, following God does put certain things in order, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it makes your life better. Nick Gundy says, don't get me started either. That's found mostly in Protestant circles. Yeah, it's true. It is very true. And it seems that I have to battle it often. So that's where I find some areas of Oliver Anthony's faith to be weak, but like I said, he is a new Christian and he's on a journey. And where I find Oliver Anthony strong is that, I guess, for some of the reasons that I criticize him for, like, he does realize that he needs God in order to make sense of life. And he's just, I've said this before, but I love the fact that he's just so open about it. And he does realize that the answer to society's problems is that we need God. We need Jesus, and we need to bring God back into society. We live in a very post-Christian world. And I'm not talking about Christian nationalism or anything. I'm just saying that our world's priorities need to line up with what God says. And I think that would make the world a better place. And I love Oliver Anthony's humility with everything. And so I'm really excited for this journey that he's on. I'm only saying these criticisms because I want to help him. He's not going to listen to this episode. I mean, maybe he will, but I hope he has some people around him that encourage him in this direction. Because there was one thing that I remember him mentioning. It was either on the Joe Rogan. I think it was on the Joe Rogan podcast, but he talked about how he at the time just wasn't a part of a church. And here's the thing is that I get it. I feel like a few years ago I probably would be more critical of people who don't involve themselves in a church, in a fellowship. And I do want to say, if you're a Christian, go find yourself a church to be a part of. Go find yourself a Christian community to plug yourself into, because that is really important. I think that that's really important in our Christian faith. But there's a little asterisk in there. I realize that we live in a day and age where there's a lot of churches that are just not biblically based, biblically founded, or anything. So there may be some people in some areas, maybe even some rural areas, because I know that he comes from, the South. I forget where exactly, but maybe it's the case that there really isn't like a good church for him to be a part of. So if that's the case, I understand that, but I do hope that Oliver Anthony plugs himself into a good community, a body of believers, so that he can be encouraged in his walk. I know that he might have, maybe it is the case that he has some stipulations about the church. So I just pray that he moves past that and, is able to submit himself to a church. Nick Gundy says, I do know the excitement and zeal of converting, but we should be cautious and take time to learn, to be mentored, etc., etc. Yeah, absolutely. And it probably isn't helping the fact that he is like in the spotlight right now, and maybe that's putting a lot of pressure on him. So I do hope that he's not getting himself too caught up in all of that. Oh yeah, Agent Serenity. Okay, so you are watching from Twitch. That's good. We were having some problems with Twitch before, so Nick Gundy says, well, don't entirely discount that. It involves looking in different places like I did. Yeah, exactly. Go find somewhere. Go out of your way to find somewhere. I was just saying that, like, I would understand if someone felt like that they couldn't find anywhere, but yeah, I guess it's a case-by-case basis. But Agent Serenity says, an interesting concept presented in the Bible that ties to this discussion is the shepherd's oil. Sheep have oil poured on them to prevent flies from laying eggs in their nostrils, which causes them to beat themselves to get it out till they hurt themselves or die. Oh gosh, oh man, I should have had content warning before I read this. Likewise, when we rely on our own strength, we can get hurt. Yet a holy, just, and powerful Creator wants such an intimate care with His creation that if you lean on His understanding and yield ourselves to His will, He pours the shepherd's oil to protect us from the flaming arrows of the devil. That is a great but very disturbing analogy, but I do love that. That's very much the case. I do agree with that. Nick Gundy says, I say that firsthand because I've learned lots of good things from a local Orthodox parish for several months. Yeah, like I said, I am definitely encouraging people to go check, find yourself a church to be part of. Don't worry, Agent Serenity. I'm mostly just kidding. I really don't mind, but it just that was just, I did not expect that. So, but I think that's a great analogy. So, anyways, so those were my thoughts on his faith. But the thing is, so what does this mean? Christian says, I'm glad to be proven wrong about the whole Twitch thing. Well, I mean, I hope that it doesn't continue to do that when we start out the show. Because if it does, that's going to be a problem. So I hope that it just gets better and I don't have that issue again. So what does Oliver Anthony have to do with Christian music other than the fact that he's a Christian? Because right now, he obviously isn't like in the contemporary Christian music industry. He's kind of outside of that. But he is a Christian. At least he's a new Christian. He's a journeying Christian. And I think that the Christian music industry can learn a lot from him. I think, honestly, the music industry as a whole can learn a lot from him. Because I think that people can learn that a song like Richmond, North of Richmond, and all of his other songs, by the way, they're similar. They're not like as politically charged as Richmond, North of Richmond, but the similarity that his music has like across the board is that it's honest and it's raw and it's obviously coming from a very authentic place in his heart. And I think that this just shows the music industry as a whole, especially Christian music industry, that it is okay to have a song that is just open and authentic and like and honest, and raw. I know I use a lot of those terms a lot, but like I think that people can see this and be like, wow, maybe maybe we should promote artists like this more often. People like artists like Oliver Anthony who don't care about making the next big hit, even though that did happen. But I don't think that Oliver Anthony expected this at all. He just made a song that that was true to him, and then it just resonated with millions and millions of people. And I think if we let that happen more often, then we would be better off for it. Christian music industry. Our songs don't have to be, and I've stood on this soapbox millions of times, but our songs don't have to be manufactured, shallow stuff that just appeases to the crowds, because you can see this song appeals to the crowd. It definitely did. But I don't think that this would have happened if Oliver Anthony was just a part of some big record label. They would not have let him make this song. But the fact that he is independent made it happen. And he has said that he is rejected like an $8 billion record label contract. And I love that because, he wants to be able to express himself. And we need to encourage that more often, especially in the Christian music industry, because like whatever, everything that plays on the radio is just so manufactured and commercial and just not challenging. And like I just had in one of my interviews that we had a discussion about like the Christian music in the 90s, how people seem to be a lot more like expressive in their emotions and in their faith and such. And I feel like we've lost that in the mainstream music. There's plenty of artists that I do my best to promote that are this way, that they are authentic and honest in the way that they present their emotions and their faith, but they don't get the spotlight, and I think that we need to encourage an artist like Oliver Anthony more often. I know a lot of people have some issues with like the language and such. I could talk about my thoughts on language myself, but I'm not going to get into that. Maybe that's for another episode. But that aside, the language aside, maybe he could chill on that. But what I love about it is that it shows the brutal honesty in the song. And I think we could encourage something a little bit more like that in the music. Agent Serenity says, preach. Pitched, what ND? I don't, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Welcome to the show. Oh, wait. Oh, no, this is a bot. Gosh dang it. Yeah, it's a bot. Oh, gosh dang it. I hate it when that happens. But anyways, I was, we're in the middle of some good preaching, bot. Yeah. I mean, I was basically done with that whole spiel. So, I mean, I hope you guys got something out of it. But so how should we react to this whole phenomenon, this whole Oliver Anthony, Richmond, North of Richmond phenomenon? Number one, I mean, I kind of said this before, but, he is a new baby Christian. So us as Christians, we can't expect him to be perfect. we need to be graceful. This guy has a lot of pressure on him. He's got a lot of eyes on him all of a sudden. Again, I cannot imagine what it's like to process that. But we need to realize that, no Christian is perfect. So I hate it how on the internet people get so visceral in judging people, and not saying that we shouldn't judge people and we shouldn't correct people. I mean, like, I do that a lot on this channel. Whenever I see a public figure who is leading people astray or is incorrect with some things, I'm going to talk about it, but I do my best to be loving and graceful. I mean, at least I try, I'm doing my best. I know I'm not perfect, but yeah, that's the point. Oliver Anthony is not going to be perfect. He's already getting some beef for some show that got canceled, but I didn't really think it was that important to bring up. It's not really. I'm not really. If you guys want to research it, you can. I think it was more just an issue of a miscommunication. But that's the thing. Like, any little thing that he does, he's going to get some criticism for it. And so I think we as Christians need to be graceful and loving towards him. So at number 2, I think we need to pray for him and his faith. He is on a beginning stage in his journey. And so we need to pray for him, that pray that he does realize the point of the gospel and what it means to be a Christian. Maybe he already has that down. He just hasn't really clearly communicated that, but we just need to pray for him. And 3, pray for the impact of his influence. I mean, this guy, he's on Joe Rogan podcast, Jordan Peterson podcast. I guess you keep saying he's got a lot of eyes on him. And so let's pray that God uses this moment to bring people to him. I mean, like, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but we got so many artists right now, specifically naming names, Doja Cat, who are just promoting this like very satanic idealism and lifestyle. And Ruslan KD actually did a video on this, and he pointed out that there are a lot of people in the comments of those kinds of videos that are like, "Oh man, I need to start going to church now." So I think something's happening in society where people are hungry for God, and so we should pray that God uses Oliver Anthony to bring that about. Agent Serenity says, the only thing is, after allowing Christ as Savior, there has to be a sign of change. However, like Christ's parable of the seed, the crops might go 100 or 300-fold, but as long as there is those steps to change, that is evidence of you allowing God to work in your life. Absolutely. Yeah. They're definitely, when you're a Christian, there should be that inspiration to want to be a better person, because Christ died for us, and so he died for our sins, so we should be motivated to be a better person, I guess, to not sin and to follow God's law. And there is also the case that we are still human and we are still going to fall, and so there is that grace that comes in. You have to have that balance of grace and wanting to improve yourself as a Christian. Nick Gundy says, healthy dose of rebuking. Yes, absolutely. All for that. Correct each other in love. That's what the scriptures say. So all right. That's I just really felt strongly about this whole Oliver Anthony thing, and I thought that it really had a lot to do with what this channel's about. So I hope you guys didn't mind me being a part of this whole conversation about Oliver Anthony. Got it out of the way. I'll probably be talking more about Oliver Anthony and his music whenever he releases new music. But yeah, so let me know you guys' thoughts. I know we got some people in the chat, and I really appreciate you guys' feedback. But for those of you who are watching or listening to this later, let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. So yeah. All right. So yeah, definitely not going to talk about Dante Bowe. That's okay. That's kind of old news right now. But so right now we're going to get into my humble opinion. I just realized I should make some sort of like video bumper for my humble opinion to just kind of like segue us into that, you know. I want this show to be professional, you know. So it's all right. It's been a while, but we're back with my humble opinion, and I'm excited to talk about these things. There were a lot of new, like very recent releases. I think all of these were just last night. Yep, it's true. So firstly, we're going to talk about Switchfoot. They just released their deluxe edition of The Beautiful Letdown, our version. So I talked about The Beautiful Letdown, our version. I feel like that was last time in the last episode. I don't know. I might be wrong. And basically what it is that they took one of their most popular albums, The Beautiful Letdown, and they redid it. They did a remake. You know, they pulled a Disney and they remade it. And I shared my thoughts on it, and I basically don't really know why the album exists. Someone actually reached out to me about it and explained their suspicions about it, and it makes sense that it could be a sort of like rights issue where Switchfoot maybe no longer really owned the rights to that album, and so like making the cover album made it so that they owned it themselves. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but other than that, I didn't really know why the album existed, because it's not like that the songs on this new version were that different. There were like slight changes to it, and I'm just like, if you're not gonna like completely reimagine these songs, then what's the point really, other than that they sound just a little bit newer and a little bit fresher. And so my reaction was that like I'm just gonna listen to the old album. You know, I'm not really gonna have any desire to go back to this, but it was okay. But this deluxe edition makes a little bit more sense to me, because it is something that's completely new. And what they did is that they reached out to, well, I don't know if they reached out to them, but a bunch of different artists covered each song from the album, and they basically did their version. And they're just each individual different artists on there. Quite a roster, actually, of different artists, both Christian and secular. I mean, we could go into that and what that's all about, but I'm not really going to. But a lot of familiar artists and a lot of surprising artists too. I'm just going to go down the list. We got John Bellion, Noah Gunderson. I know Nick Gundy is yeah, okay, I already see in the chats. Noah Gunderson covered one of the songs. Yeah. So we got Noah Gunderson, Monica Martin, Reliant K, Ryan Tedder from One Republic, Colony House, Jonas Brothers, Owl City, Ingrid Andress, I'm not really familiar with her, Dayglow, Tyler Joseph from 21 Pilots, and Sleeping at Last. So, very interesting collection of different artists. And, you know, they all put their own different spin on it. And I gotta say, I was not expecting Jonas Brothers, of all people. They haven't even really been making any music, have they? Or maybe didn't they just recently get back together? I don't know. I do remember that the Jonas Brothers, they grew up in a Christian home, and I'm pretty sure they were Assemblies of God, which is my background. I could be wrong on that. It's funny because when I was a kid, I used to get this magazine by Focus on the Family called Clubhouse, and they did an article on Nicholas Jonas, on Nick Jonas, whatever, when he was a kid, because he used to be on Broadway, and that was like kind of when he started making music, and he started out making Christian music. And so as a kid, I was like, oh man, I want to be him. And then the Jonas Brothers happened. I was like, and then I realized that one of them was Nicholas Jonas. I was like, that's the kid that I knew. from Clubhouse. So, anyways, that's my history with Jonas Brothers. Their version is interesting. I don't. It's weird because The Beautiful Letdown is probably my favorite song on the album, and I didn't know how I really felt about their version. I'll just go through some of these, all these different covers. John Bellion's version of Meant to Live is very underwhelming, in my opinion. It's just like all orchestra and such, and whatever. Noah Gunderson it's a very his version is very close to the original version with his own little twist on it, so it's fine. It's good. Monica Martin, I didn't really like her cover of More Than Fine. Sometimes I get really tired of the trope that, like, when you cover a song, it has to be more like chill and laid back than the original, which there are exceptions. There are good examples of that. But More Than Fine is such a fun and upbeat song, and she just killed it. Not in a good way. She just, like, it's dying. Like, it doesn't sound like you're more than fine, but that's my opinion. I really liked Relient K's version of Ammunition. It's very fun, very punky. The Dare You to Move with Ryan Tedder, it's basically just, they just took Switchfoot's new version of Dare You to Move and they just added Ryan Tedder, so there's not really much to talk about there. Ryan Tedder is a good singer, but Colony House, I'm a big fan of Colony House. I like their version of Redemption. Owl City was just made to cover Gone. Like, that song was just made for him, and so it was perfect. Really fun. Ingrid Andress, her version of On Fire was fine. Dayglow, that's an artist that I did not expect to see on there, but very welcome. He has a really fun version of Adding to the Noise. And Tyler Joseph from 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots can be very hit or miss for me. I've been listening to their album Trench, and I love that album. Not so much with some of their other albums, but I really like his version of 24. And Sleeping at Last Monday comes around. Look, I gotta say, guys, I've never been on the Sleeping at Last bandwagon. It's like Sleeping at Last, more like, yeah, I'm definitely sleeping while listening to this. But I don't know, if you like it, that's fine. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. But I'd say there are songs on this that I'd much rather listen to than than Switchfoot's new versions, because they're just different, and it's I got something different out of this experience, and I got what I was expecting to get from the first hour version, if that makes sense. So yeah. Anyways, it was it's fine, and if you're a Switchfoot fan, and honestly, if you're a fan of any of these artists, I recommend checking out these songs, because they're a lot of fun. So, Beautiful Letdown, our version, deluxe edition, it's fine. It's more than fine. Anyways, yeah.
You're raising the dead. I am the second man.
All right, so next up, we have a new release from Mike Maines and the Branches. They are a band that I've talked about before on the show, and I'm a big fan of them. And they finally released this new album, Memory Unfixed. Mike Maines and the Branches, they are like indie pop rock. Sometimes a little bit more emphasis on the rock, sometimes a little bit more emphasis on the pop, but it's a really good, fun mixture. And I've really enjoyed this album. I haven't been able to do a deep dive into it. Actually, it's kind of the same with most of what I'm talking about today, because they just came out. So, but I would love to have a lot more time with this album, because something that I love about Mike Maines and the Branches is their lyricism gets so deep, and he especially gets very honest with this album, especially with songs like Losing My Head and Lost Boys. You can just hear him just going through a lot of issues in his life, his faith, relationships with other people. It's a kind of lyricism that really can really resonate with a lot of people, and so yeah, I highly recommend checking out Memory Unfixed. I can't wait to continue to listen to this album throughout the rest of the year, throughout the rest of my life, honestly. So yeah, Memory Unfixed by Mike Maines in the Branches.
Feels like I'm losing my head again.
All right, and next up we have a new album from Need to Breathe, and it is called Caves. And I've talked about Need to Breathe on this show as well. Need to Breathe is the kind of band that I'm always going to like keep my eye on and check out what they release. But that doesn't mean that I love everything that Need to Breathe does. They can be hit or miss for me. One of the things that I criticize Need to Breathe over is that sometimes their songs can lean a little bit too much into the like CCM mainstream ballads, but my favorite kind of Need to Breathe is the edgy and the fun Need to Breathe. And the thing is that there is a lot of that in this album. I am happy to say there is a lot of fun in this album and a little bit of edginess. I guess what I mean edginess is that my favorite album from Need to Breathe is The Reckoning. A lot of good jams on that album, and especially their song Oohs and Ahs, and I think their first song on this new album, The Cave, is very reminiscent of that. They just have a lot of fun, and there's only like a couple times where it gets a little like, okay, this is a little bit, this song was definitely made to like be on Christian radio or whatever. But I found that there was a lot to appreciate about this album. The song The Cave gets really creative with its chord progression. Ever Known is really fun. There's a collaboration with Judah and the Lion called Dreams, and that's just a jam. Wasting Time. It's a great party song. And a lot of good features on here. We got Old Dominion, Carly Pierce, and Foy Vance as well. It's just a good mixture of, we got some country and folk in there mixed in with some really fun arena rock. And, that's a good way to my heart. It's just really fun arena rock. So I'm enjoying it so far. It doesn't beat The Reckoning for me personally, but, I'm not complaining, honestly. So if you're a Need to Breathe fan, I'd say you would definitely enjoy this album. So that's Caves by Need to Breathe.
So I throw my bones in the river, sink my teeth in a good time, whole lot more than a feeling I can lose.
All right, and last but not least, we have a new single from Half Alive. I'm a big fan of Half Alive, as you guys know, and so they just dropped this new song on us, and it's called Subliminal. And basically what it's about, and I would actually recommend you guys check out the music video to it, because it adds, it really brings a lot, lifts the song up and the lyricism and such. Basically about being in a relationship and like the conflicts of that and the struggles of being in a relationship and what that looks like exactly. Nothing more to it, but it's a fun alternative pop track and about as good as Half Alive gets. So I hope that, I haven't looked into it, but I hope that they're working on a new album. So, but yeah, go check out Subliminal by Half Alive.
Still your heart is burning up, I can tell it's obvious, you're too afraid to fall in love.
All right, and that's it for my humble opinion I just, yeah, that's it. And we're getting to the end of the show. There was a lot more music that came out too that I want to talk about, but I only give myself, you know, a little bit of time so that I'm not wasting time. So, but yeah, that's it. And that's the show. So, next episode, 2 weeks from now, will be first of a handful of interviews. And this interview is going to be with Mixtape Theology. Mixtape Theology. It's these two awesome people, Rachel and Dr. Ashley. They run this podcast / website called Mixtape Theology, and they are releasing a book called Mixtape Theology, and it's a devotional that examines different 90s CCM hits and basically unpacks them in a theological light. And I've read a little bit of it, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And so we had a conversation about that. And so be sure to tune in the next episode. I'll be here. It'll be like still live streamed. Like I'll be here at the beginning of the episode, and then I'll be at the end. But the interview is pre-recorded. So just because like I don't feel like I have the technology to be able to live stream a guest. So, but it's really fun. I promise you guys. So that's going to be the first of a handful of interviews, and I'm not going to tell you what the other interviews are. So you guys will just have to stick around for that. So I'm really excited for you guys to check that out. So, yeah, I guess that's it. I want to say thank you guys so much for the love and support in this awkward time. It really means a lot, and I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited for the future of this channel. Hoping that we can get over these technological difficulty hurdles. We'll see. Be praying for this channel. So, and also, I'm working on a new video. I've had to put a pause on the John James video, but I'm working on an analysis review of an analysis and review of the film Days of Noah. So there'll be more updates about that. Christian says, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. I'm sure too. I hope so. But thanks for the encouragement. All right, so that's gonna do it for today. Thanks again so much for the support. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts so show support for the show. I'll give you a shout out if you leave a review, and also comment on this stream, comment on any of the highlight videos, and you'll get a shout out on the show. Also, leave a rating on Spotify. If whatever podcast platform you use has a way to leave a rating and review, just do it. Podwood Forecast, we got a new episode coming out very soon about Barbie and Oppenheimer. So we have a discussion about that, so that's going to be interesting. Be sure to like and subscribe to the I'm Clifford Today show. Follow me on Twitch. Also merch. There's always a link for merch if you guys want to buy a shirt or whatever. Yeah, so that's basically it, all that I got. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. It really means a lot, and I'm really excited about being back. So I'll see you guys again with Mixtape Theology in a couple weeks. Love you guys. God bless. Take care.